Hi, I'm Sean. Today I'll show you how I made a few of these pens. Pens make great gifts. The material costs can be very inexpensive, and with some experience, they can be very easy to make. Let me show you how I made a few of these. I start at the bandsaw by cutting the blank about 1/8 inch longer than the brass tubes, being sure to mark the ends for the center band so the grain lines up in the final product. The pens I make require a range of bits from 7mm to 27/64 inch. At the drill press, the blanks are drilled with the appropriate sized drill. If you're turning an acrylic blank like this one, you can see the shadow from my finger through the resin. If you don't address this before gluing the brass tube into the blank, you'll see the brass through the resin. I like to paint the inside of the blanks instead of the tubes. To prepare the brass tubes, you will need to rough them up with a 150 grit paper to allow proper adhesion in the blanks. This can be done by hand or with the tubes mounted on the mandrel at the lathe. Now add some CA glue or 2-part epoxy to the inside of the blank and spread it on the outside of the brass tube. Then give the tube a twist as it's inserted into the blank. A couple of shots of activator speed up the drying process. Back at the drill press with a proper sized barrel trimmer and the chuck, I flatten the blanks for a good reference surface for the bushings by removing material until I see the shiny brass tube. Now mount the blank on the mandrel with the corresponding bushings for the kit you're using. In this case, I'm turning a Gatsby pen. I like to use a skew for pen making, as I can get a nice flat cut and tricky grain is sliced easily without tear out. After the initial sanding from 150 to 320 grit, I use 400 grit Abranet to begin the polishing process and work my way from 1500 up to 12,000 grit with the wet micromash pads. The result is a glassy, smooth surface. For wood blanks, I sand up to 1500 grit and use a EEE polish to remove any scratches and begin the finishing process. Just rub on the polish, buff it off with a paper towel, then finish with a shellac finish such as Hut Crystal Coat. Again, a nice smooth finish. Then remove the blanks from the mandrel and assemble the pen. Starting with the Gatsby pen, I press the tip into the barrel and then the mechanism ring and the clip onto the other end. The ink cartridge is inserted, the twist mechanism is screwed on, and the cap is pressed to complete the pen. The cigar pen is similar, starting with the lower barrel and pressing the tip and the coupling ring into the appropriate ends of the lower barrel. Then insert the ink cartridge, screw on the twist mechanism, and press the upper barrel with the cap screw and clip in place. For this cigar pen kit, the cap is screwed on instead of being pressed. Now that's a nice pen. If this is your first time to my channel, I'd like to say welcome. I put a video out every 2 weeks, so please hit the subscribe button. You'll be sure not to miss any of those. Also, you can follow me on social media. I'm most active on Instagram, where you can see photos of these things and other projects that I work on from week to week. Thanks for watching. I'm Sean. I'll see you next time.